Hi, I'm Crystal, the parenting coach. Parenting is a thing that some of us just expected to know how to do. It's not like other areas of your life where you go to school and get taught, get on-the-job training, or have mentors to help you. But now you can get that help here. I believe that your relationship with your children is one of the most important aspects of your life and the best way that you can make a positive impact on the world and on the future. I've made parental relationships my life study, and I use life coaching tools, emotional wellness tools, and connection-based parenting to build amazing relationships between parents and their children. If you want an even better relationship with your child, this podcast will help you. Take my parenting quiz at the link in the show notes. Once we know what your parenting style is, we will send some tips tailored to you and a roadmap to help you get the most out of my podcast. Feng Shui and Parenting: How to Create a More Harmonious Home with Patricia Lohan. Every home holds energy, just like our own bodies do. If we want to create a healthy home environment, our physical space makes a big difference. Feng Shui can help build romance and relationship, help kids stop fighting, and create more harmony and peace in your home. Join me and Patricia Lohan from Powerhouse Feng Shui on the podcast today. She has helped thousands of people across the globe embrace Feng Shui and create lasting change in their business, homes, and lives. Patricia has seen firsthand the power of the mind, surroundings, and the inner healing, clearing and aligning everything so it works holistically. What we talk about today: what Feng Shui is and how it can affect your home, how our kids' relationships can change as we change the energy of our homes, where to get started with Feng Shui in the home when trying to promote healthy family relationships, how to create a healthy space in your neurodiverse kids' room to help them thrive, and what elements to include and not include for a romantic and restful atmosphere in your own bedroom. Hello, and welcome everyone to today's podcast episode. I am so excited to be bringing you this episode. I'm actually in Greece currently while I'm recording this. If you have been listening to my podcast or you're on my email list, you probably know that I've been traveling with my family for the last couple of months, and we're traveling hopefully all the way around the world. We started in New York and we're hoping to end in California. And what's so funny about today's episode is that I was trying to meet up with Patricia to get this episode done and wasn't able to record it until I was in Greece. And she actually lives in Greece right now also. Like, what are the odds that we're both actually pretty close to each other. So this will be a really fun episode. She connected, I think, via email or Instagram, and I really love what she has to share. And I think it's going to be a super interesting topic because it's something that I don't really know much about, but I would love to learn more about. So before we dive into the episode, I'm just going to welcome Patricia Lohan. And will you tell us a little bit about you and what you do, Patricia?
Thanks so much, Crystal. Hi, everybody. My name is Patricia. I'm originally from the west coast of Ireland, and I'm a Feng Shui expert. And I just love helping people create harmonious homes. Feng Shui is and has been in my life since I was about 15, when my parents moved into, and we, as a family, we all moved into a new house, and it was a beautiful home. Things just kind of started to go wrong, like in many different ways, like health-wise, career-wise. There was lots of legal issues. It was just like literally we kind of dropped into like this crazy bomb that hit our life, and we're like, what's happened? And maybe it was some intuitive part of me that was like, it's the house. But I ended up hearing about Feng Shui. My parents were not into it at all. And I got them to hire a Feng Shui expert. And I've just always been interested and kind of tapped into bigger source and energy since then. And basically now I help people have harmonious homes, and it's just been amazing. So we've been doing this, my husband and I, since 2016 online, but I met when my main kind of fun attracting using Feng Shui was I set up my apartment for love, and I met my husband very soon afterwards, Ken. And then after I had met him, we'd gone on a few dates. He brought me up to his house, and I was touring me around his house, and I was like, let's Feng Shui this place. So we've both been into it for so long. He was into it in his 20s. So when I said, I want to really do it when we moved in together, I was like, I'm going to do this professionally for our house. I want to really do it properly. And he was like, yeah, me too. So we totally did the Feng Shui together, and we had some significant windfalls. Literally within a couple of weeks after doing it, we saw some great successes in terms of my business. And then my clients started asking me more can you do my house? So I used to work with kids with special needs and on the autism spectrum with sound healing and meditation and all different types of modalities. And, what I realized was that I was helping them become like little bubbles of calm and melting and being really relaxed. And obviously also their parents who would come in, be in the room as well. And now I could do it, like really change the energy of the home so that everybody was much calmer, much more peaceful, and things started to flow better. So it kind of, it snowballed from really not starting it to be a business, but it led to me be able to, support families on a way bigger and more substantial scale, which was, beautiful.
Hey, so I don't know a lot about feng shui, but is it like the way that things are arranged affects the energy in the home? And that's what you're talking about with like things like, positive or negative happening based on what's happening in the home kind of a thing?
So feng shui is not about the aesthetics of the house. So, that house that we moved into was absolutely beautiful. Like people would come in and say, you live here. We're like, this is it. It's like out of a magazine. Not like that at all. Basically, feng shui is acupuncture for your home. So essentially, when we are working with the acupuncture of your home, it's about the energetics. So if you've ever been to an acupuncturist, they like will check your tongue, they'll look at your eyes, they'll ask how old you are, they'll also check your pulse to see what's going on. And they'll get all this information and then be, okay, well, this is what's out of balance. So whether it's, whatever meridians, it's pretty much the exact same for your house. Your house has a specific energy based on the year it was built, the shape of it, the setting in nature, like literally where it's positioned on the planet. And we run analysis on a person's home to analyze what's going on energetically. So even if it was like a totally empty house, it's going to have a feng shui dynamic. There's like no furniture in it. It's still going to be either good or bad feng shui. And when people move into that house, it will support them in some ways and may not in other ways. And the idea of feng shui is that every house can support you as long as it's totally balanced with the right energies. So the idea, and I think this is where when it was originally brought from the east to the west, it was like, oh, put your couch here, put your bed here, like, the setup of the furniture. And that is one aspect of it. But most of the time when it comes to like placement of furniture, it's like, that's kind of common sense and logical to people. Like you walk in, where is the best place in this living room to put a couch against that wall there and the armchairs? So that's usually pretty much common sense. And then the others, for me, when it comes to positioning, which you can talk about from a family perspective, is, the position of the bed in the parents' bedroom and still in the kids' bedroom. Also for the office, from like a work perspective, there where I would be when I do most focus with my clients in terms of setup, energetic furniture wise. The rest, I'm not so bothered. Like your couch, I don't really care where it is, as long as it kind of, when you walk into the room, it makes sense. But it's not going to be sabotaging your life where the couch is.
What kinds of things would be more of a sabotaging thing as far as like energy goes? Because I did think it was more of like positioning of places energy wise. So tell me more about that.
Yeah. So I suppose when I like to describe feng shui like almost like an iceberg. And at the tip of the iceberg, there's things like the movement of the furniture, and then underneath it, we've got all this energetic stuff. So it's invisible. So most houses, when they're built, they will come with a specific personality type. So there'll be some house you'll move into and could be really abundant. Like that house that we moved into when I was a kid, money was good, like really good at that time. So that house was obviously good for money, but for health and for people, it just wasn't. So that it's not a visual sabotage. There's not visual things that will be sabotaging it. It will be invisible. So, but there can be visible things that would also be sabotaging. And I think this is the dance between it. So there's sometimes aesthetic things, and then most of the time it's not visible, which is what we would do and analyze for our clients and be like, okay, this is the balance. But from a visible perspective, or from kind of a, if you're to kind of start, I always ask people to start at their front door, like start way on your way home. Like, how do you feel? Do you feel happier when you're outside your house? And as you come to the driveway, what does it look like? What's the experience of getting home? When you get out of the car, I actually spoke to a gentleman the other day and he was telling me that, he had his whole garden all ripped up and all the plants taken out. It was so bare. And it used to like really agitate him. And I was like, of course, because it's not nice. Like it was completely a mess. So is there weeds growing up? Is there like cracks on the window? Is the doorbell working? Like, is it easy? Is it working? So your home is basically it's the sanctuary for your body. Like it's your, so it's like how you treat your body. If you look after your body, it's going to look after you, and you have to sustain it. The same goes for your house. So the front door is a really interesting one to even just kind of start with. When you get to that front door, is it easy to open? Everything in your home like reflects you. So if the house front door is like hard to get in, it can mean that like things can be a bit of a struggle. It can be more difficult in your life. It can be you feel like you're pushing and it's hard to get chi, money, opportunities coming in through the door. And then when you open that door, especially when I've seen with families, is there 15 pairs of shoes and 30 coats all stacked up? That instant overwhelm. And how do your spirits feel? Your spirits rise or fall. So when you see it, you walk in, you're like, oh, this feels so calm. I'm so happy to be home. Or is it the other way? And you're like, oh my God. So you can start to really see some of the visual things that are cues that you often will take for granted. And hopefully this call will give you some insights in just kind of waking up to the fact that your home is going to be affecting your energy. And especially when it comes to moms, and in my community, like hundreds of moms, and I just see that like they are the thermometer of the mood of the house. So we really want to make sure that they're feeling good and that the space feels good. And when it does feel good, it really helps you create more harmony.
Okay. What would you do? So you said, okay, it's like acupuncture for your house. You go to an acupuncturist, they go through this whole thing and they kind of figure out, okay, this is out of balance. This is out of balance. What do you actually do then? If you're not changing around visible structures, what is it that you do to change the energy within the home?
Yeah, so it's exactly the same as acupuncture. We work with 5 elements, which is the traditional Chinese medicine. And we work with fire, metal, earth, wood, and what did I miss? Fire, metal, fire.
Did you say water?
Water.
Yeah.
So we work with the 5 elements, and basically in every area of your home represents a different part of your life. So for example, same with your body, your heart does this job. Your lungs do these jobs. Every part of your home represents a different part of your life. So there's the health area, career area, a family area. And that area could be great energy or mediocre or just not good. And when we look at the analysis, what we're doing is we're going to see what element is going to balance that area. So we typically be giving like a diagnosis of like, well, this is off balance. This is what you need to do to rebalance it. So it's like, bring a plant to this area, bring some metal element to this area, just like the needles when it comes to acupuncture, and maybe bring, a water feature to this area. And it's very bespoke. So it's not like you kind of just randomly bring these elements in, because when houses were originally, and when Feng Shui was first, created, essentially it was about intention, and it was looking at where is the optimum place to position my home. So a house would have been like this is a big deal. They were going to build a home for themselves. So they would look at nature and they would say, okay, we're not going to go to the riverbed. We want to have some support away from the wind. So we're going to kind of have a little maybe some mountain behind us. Maybe we'll bring some water. Is there water? We need to be near water. So that's good, because obviously literally for drinking water. And we need to have some support. Is there, is there trees around us? So we're bringing, they look at how the house can be built in the most, and where's the sunlight? Where is the sun shining? And to have the house bright, or, in different parts. So that's essentially what was first, when for people first were looking at building houses, it was quite like intentional. Whereas now we have these plots of land and it's like, let's put up 50 houses and then hopefully they'll be okay, but they're not necessarily going to be built in sync and in harmony with nature. But what we do was we're analyzing the external of the house, the internal, and we're going to bring it in sync with that energy of it being in harmony with nature. So when your house is in balance and in harmony with nature, if you're in your favorite place in nature and you're just feeling really good and you're like, oh my God, it just feels so good. That's the sense that we want to create in your house. So it's not necessarily about, I suppose, especially in this day and age, like having these Pinterest-worthy, amazing, perfect houses. That's not what it's about. And I think that, like, really can put a lot of pressure on parents in this world, like Instagrammable homes. You're like, no, 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 no. It's about creating a space that everyone sleeps well, everyone gets on well, like that it's like there's good communication, like that everyone's happy, you know? And that's what we're doing. We're like bringing the right elements in to balance it, and it's specific to the house.
So have you seen, what kind of changes have you seen as you've gone in and you've worked with people to make these changes and to balance out the energy? What has happened after for people?
Okay, so the first lady I think of is Tina. So Tina has two young boys, and she's her own business. So Tina started our program. She did some cleaning up of her front door and some extra energy. She came in she teaches, or she creates websites. And literally she got an email for a website to be designed. Like no pitch. She didn't have to pitch. She didn't have to email. She just she's like, oh my God, this like never happens, for like her top package. Now, her main concern in her house was her two kids, her two sons, like didn't get on. They just fought all the time. They were like enemies. And essentially, when she started doing and putting the remedies in, her two boys started getting on so well, like literally helping each other with their homework and waiting for each other at the end for school. Like she was like, I don't know what have we done? But whatever has happened, these two are like best friends now. So obviously that is beautiful. We've seen lots of parents, or like lots of couples kind of rekindle the romance between them because they just got more conscious of their environment, and it's just become more harmonious. We've seen lots of kids get like great scholarships that they've needed going into schools. We've also seen, and this is always a fun one because it's usually the moms who join our program, but then the husbands get like pay rises or new company cars or stock buyouts. Like it's like these, and it's usually quite funny because they're like not attached to the results, but all of a sudden they're starting to see different things happen. So and that's why I started kind of reaching out to parent and podcasts and coaches, because like we just started to see such a ripple effect in families' homes. Like our community would be sharing like, this just happened for my son, or this happened with my daughter, and she just got like a scholarship for this, or so I was like, oh my God, like more parents need to know that like your physical environment is, it's impacting you, but there's so much potential to create a really harmonious space for your family and to just see them flourish that probably you haven't even tapped into.
Hey, that makes so much sense to me because years ago I got into minimalism. I think it was about 2016 or so, 2015 maybe. And I just was feeling so overwhelmed. I felt like I was irritated all the time and irritated at my kids all the time and arguing with them all the time. And I think a lot of it for me was overwhelm of like so much stuff and like not just physical clutter, but also just like a lot of furniture, a lot of things, places. And so I went through and just read all that I could about minimalism, and I got rid of like a whole bunch of stuff and I cleared everything else out and I just made a lot more space. And it really changed things in how I showed up in my relationship with my kids. And I really think it changed the energy in our home so much. And I try to explain that to people because I'm like, it's more than just minimalism. Like it really there was a huge energetic shift in our family as we changed things in our home. And so I see how this could be life-changing, and like, there's just less stress and less overwhelm and less negative energy happening between people as you start to make those changes.
Yeah. And I love that. And I suppose with just on that with minimalism, like it's not about becoming a minimalist, but it's about becoming more conscious of your physical environment and what you bring into it, what you keep in it, like what are you holding on to? Like we just had a mom in our community saying that she has all of everything from her 5-year-old in the attic. And she's like, I don't know. I know that it needs to go. And like, but everyone's jumping in going, yeah, but like you can, she's not going to have more children. So but it's still that like emotional part. And we're like, yes, but the holding on and it's all in her attic, which is all about like the mind, the head, like just if you kind of bring it back into that body, it's the mind, the head, it's a sense of a burden. I was like, you're just going to feel so much lighter if you like clear it out. And one lady, one of the community came on and said, look, there was 7 years between my kids. Like I ended up having another child. I held onto everything, but I didn't use any of it. So it's just that sense of, camaraderie that we see in our community, but also that we just don't realize the impact of the things in our house, and whether it's physical stuff or even aesthetic, like, artwork or, and I think just in terms of this around, the stuff is one big part, but sometimes it gets misinterpreted that feng shui and not being able to do it is like because the playroom is messy, or because the dishes on the counter or the laundry room is full and always busy. That, like, those kind of things for me are life. That's not something that I think people should get bothered about. Like, don't judge your home by, the things that you're ultimately going to fill the dishwasher and clear out the playroom. The kids are playing with the toys. Like, that's fine. It's more about those places, whether it's the attic or the cupboard, or, this man I spoke to recently, he was like, I had a filing cabinet in the corner of 20 years. There was like a telephone bills in it. He's like, when I cleared it, I felt so much better. I was like, yeah, 20 years. It's just been there, If we related back to that feng shui and acupuncture thing, you're like, stagnancy creates disease, disharmony in our bodies. And that's when we get sick. It's a mirror in our homes. Like, something's stuck there for 20 years. Like, it's not going to be helping.
Yes, that is so interesting. And I feel like ever since I got into minimalism, people were like, well, how do you do it with the kids? And I was like, well, I don't feel like I have to just get rid of everything. Like, obviously it's not going to look like it does on TV where you don't have anything. I'm not, hardcore about it, but I'm like, I get rid of things that are actually not being used. And I did the same thing with my kids' clothing, where I was like, I can just buy them new stuff. Like, it's fine. And we're really into sustainability. And so I donate a lot of things. And then I go to secondhand stores or consignment stores or vintage stores. And that's where I buy things again. So I actually really feel good every time that I donate really good quality stuff to a store. And every time that I find them again, like what I need from it, like, it feels like this great, like, circular, giving and taking thing that happens, giving and receiving. And, anyway, so I do. And I did feel that energy of like what I'm getting rid of also. Like, does this thing bring me joy? Do I want to keep it? Does it have a purpose? Do I want to take care of it, or does it not? And just recognizing the energy that I'm bringing in and putting out in the home.
For sure. And for people listening, if you're like, oh my God, I don't want to touch that room or this thing or whatever, like, start small. Like, you don't have to do your whole house. Like, start small. Maybe there's a cupboard in your kitchen that you can start with. So you're like, okay, I'm going to do that one. And you'll feel better. And if there is another space that you can kind of go, that will be less emotional, don't start on the emotive thing with like where the kids' clothes that you're like, I know that's going to be really hard. Start with your underwear. And if there's things that that need to go, like, move it. Like, don't leave it in the same place. Like, move it closer to the door. Like, start the energy moving. And then eventually, like, I know I need to let go of this. Okay, move it and then bring it out. And one day you'll be going out the door, you'll pop it in the car and you're like, okay, that's on the road now.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Before we go, I really want to chat about, you said that you used to work with neurodiverse kids. So I would love to know, how do you do that? So, like, if you were like, I really want to create a room or environment, my kids have, ASD, ADHD, anxiety, and a lot of my clients' kids have had also. And I would love to know specifically for their rooms, what are things that would make a difference for them?
So the first thing with their bedrooms is like Zen. You need to think of the word like Zen, because when we talk about bedrooms, I parents' bedrooms, rest, romance, and relaxation, those three words. And it would be just about stepping in and be like, could I sleep peacefully in this room? Have nothing under the bed, a nice solid wooden bed, those racing car driving beds. I'm like, it's red. Fire element is like anxiety, fear, it's burn, it's like exhaustion. It's like that. So you want to like minimize red. For sure. You want to minimize blue. You want to think about grounding colors, which is going to be cream and earth tones. You want to kind of, I know that kids love their very dramatic duvet covers and quilts in their rooms and posters, but it's kind of like a little bit of a, okay, how do we balance this? So, I've had clients, I've said to them, look, get cork boards and just be like, 2 cork boards, put whatever you want on those 2 cork boards. Don't put it over their head. Don't have it where they're near where they're sleeping. So they're able to have like a calm place. No hanging things over the bed. Like, that's kind of creates overwhelm as well. And do what you want on those designated spaces. but the rest needs to be as clear as possible. If you do have like a playroom or a space that's the kids' space outside of their bedroom, take that stuff out of their bedroom. Like you want like toys and books, they're really high energy. So we want to kind of reduce all of that out of a bedroom and make it a space that can be really relaxing and calm for them. And the other thing is then for like desk setup. So the bed position first is keeping their head to the wall, and then being able to see the door. I'm also not a big fan of bunk beds or the beds that they climb up on a ladder and then have all of this busyness underneath them. First of all, it can be quite ungrounding, especially for the top bunk or for those on that top area. And then quite constricting with the roof closing. So you don't have as much space. So I'm not a big fan of those because there's a lot of busyness underneath as well. Now, if you do have them, don't panic, but just like clear out what you can from underneath, and then maybe get some stones, earth and stones, and put them in the corner of the bed. So there's like a bit of like an earthing energy in that space. And then the colors and the walls, again, trying to keep it clear and very zen is my main thing for bedrooms.
Okay, I love that. So for kids' bedrooms, zen, creamy earth tones, taking the toys, anything with high energy out of the bedroom, posters if you can, if not, put them on cork boards. What about, and you said for parents, you said rest, romance, relaxation. What does that look like in a room?
So, and in actually just in a children's bedroom as well, put in a family photo. So it's very good for the family, and it's very good for that sense of connection. So a family photo in the kids' bedroom. In the parents' room, I would recommend thinking that this is like also about training in boundaries. So you want your bedroom to be just for you and your partner. So 2 bedside tables, a nice double bed, nothing under the bed, no family photos, no children's photos, no friends of your photos, no friends of your family or your friends. Like you want to clear that out. And this space needs to be just dedicated to you and your partner. So if you're in a relationship, have a picture of you and your partner. If you're not in a relationship, bring in a picture of a couple together, like, you know, in doing whatever. If you want to be walking on a beach, hand in hand, like have something that represents the type of relationship that you want to have. So that's setting it up for that, you know. And again, back to the images, have a picture of yourself and your partner, but pick like the happiest day. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be your wedding or, you know, some occasion, like a day that just felt so great for both of you, and that both of you see it and you're like, yes, that was it. This is why we're together, you know. And that really is powerful. Again, a good solid bed with a headboard represents support. And then I always think of this lady when we walked into her bedroom and she was like, and welcome to my bedroom. And it was like all pink. There was like fairies and angels all over the place. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with these things, but she needed that stuff in like a craft space or in a, you know, in a place that this is for both of you. So it's about having both of you having buy-in in the space. So if you do have a wall that you're going to put a piece of art, like, you know, for me and Ken, what I did recently, I wanted to change and upgrade the art in our bedroom. So I picked a few pieces and then I showed, these are a few of the things. What do you think of these? He's like, that one. And I was like, great, this is easy. You know, so it's collaborative. And this is the idea, is a sense of balance and harmony. So thinking of pairs in the space is important. And same goes for the wardrobe. You know, you might have more stuff, but is there space for your partner's things in your bedroom as well? And then the other thing is just sometimes I see, you know, TVs in the bedroom. If you do have a TV in the bedroom, can you cover it at night so that you're relaxing, you know, are you able to relax? Try and keep your phone out of the bedroom, like get an alarm clock. You know, we know, especially in online business, like you can work from your phone the whole time. So you're basically in bed with your business. So we really
and even then, like I just noticed in the evenings, I'll just be like randomly scrolling and like we're both just doing separate things. Or in the morning when we wake up, same thing. Like I just get my phone. Yeah. And so for so many months before we started this trip, I was like, oh, I just want to get like an alarm clock that like doesn't even plug in, like just like an old, like small one that like all it does is like tell the time and set an alarm. And I just want all of the electronics out of the room. But we were living in someone's house that was like fully furnished. It wasn't like a permanent place for us. And so I was like, okay, when we're done this like big trip, I need to find somewhere where I can really control these, more physical aspects like I want to, because I could already tell that that was something that I wanted to shift. So I love that you pointed that out.
For sure. And then like spiritual, like if people have like a spiritual deities and that in the bedroom, I don't recommend it in the bedroom. I would say like create a sacred space somewhere else in the house. And if you have to have it in your bedroom, can you put a little screen up, or can you like corn it off a little bit so it's not the priority in your bedroom, because this is the kind of hub of your relationship.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much for all of this. I feel like you've given us so many practical tips. If anybody wants to learn more about Feng Shui, is there books or any sort of like online learning that you would recommend if they're like, yeah, this is something I'm really into and I want to dive more into?
For sure. So there's two things. I have my Feng Shui 101 mini course. It's currently $9. So it gets you started in Feng Shui, loads of steps that you can take action on. And that's on my website, patricialohan.com. And I've also written a book called The Happy Home, a guide to creating a happy, healthy, wealthy life. So that's there as well. So patricialohan.com.
Perfect.
And I've loads of free resources and YouTube videos and all of that on my website. So hopefully that'll get you started. Yeah.
Yes. And I will have those in the show notes. So if you don't know how to go to the show notes, if you're listening on Apple or Spotify or whatever, you just scroll down, it'll be at the bottom of there. Or if you're listening on my website, there's just going to be all of them at the bottom of the show notes there too. So you can take a look at that. And where can people connect with you besides your website if they want to connect with you more? Do you have social media or a group or something?
So I'm on Instagram. I also have a free Facebook group called the Powerhouse Free Lounge. So Powerhouse Feng Shui Free Lounge. So that's available there. There's always resources being shared. And then on Instagram, I'm at Patricia Lohan. And then I also have Powerhouse Feng Shui. So you'll find them.
I will have all those things. I think I have all those links for everyone. So thank you so much, Patricia, for joining us today. This has been so different, but like so interesting. I've never like heard a lot about this before. So I'm excited that you came in and told us more about it. I'm excited to feng shui my house.
I'm grateful for this opportunity, and I hope that everyone gets started with their homes and it supports you in so many different ways.
Yeah, I love it. I'm excited because I don't have a house right now and we're going to at the end of this adventure. And I'm like, oh, it'll be something to look forward to, like to figure out how to do this in a cool and energy balancing way. So
and it'll be so fascinating for you between properties, like staying in different places.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I can already tell when you were like talking about like, how easy it is to get in the door. It's like not easy at all. Like I cannot get into this door. I have not once successfully been able to open the door with the lock, and it locks automatically when you leave. So you have to like unlock it every time. I literally just have to call up the stairs and hope that my husband can hear me so that he can come and unlock it for me every single time. And in this house, I've been so much more like irritated and frustrated. And I'm like, it's the door.
There you go.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you so much for all of this. I'm excited I'll have to chat with you when I have my new house and be like, okay, how's my feng shui doing, and see how it goes.
For sure.
Thank you.
Thanks a million.
Thanks for listening. If you'd like to help spread this work to the world, share this episode on social media and tag me. Send it to a friend or leave a quick rating and review below so more people can find me. If you'd like more guidance on your own parenting journey, reach out.